Cara McMenamin is the Assistant District Attorney for Montgomery County in the state of Pennsylvania. Cara is a lawyer for the county specializing in making sure that mental health individuals get the justice they deserve. This includes finding the right treatment so that these individuals can succeed without having to suffer being incarcerated.
I will say this, I've done this job 2 different places in my life. One as a young attorney, and then again, as a much older and wiser person. When I started out in my career, there was absolutely nothing. There was jail or no jail. So people who had drug problems, people who had mental health issues, people who had PTSD from our service overseas, there was nothing for them. Well, in Montgomery County, I do behavioral health court, and the purpose of it is to wrap services around individuals. And then generally, if you successfully complete one of our courts, your charges are usually either dismissed or reduced. That's not always the case. Sometimes we have probation and parole violators that come in on violations. But what we have found is that in the mental health world, a lot of people don't know what's out there. And so what our court does is we set them up with treatment so that they're in individual treatment, they're in group treatment. Most of them, not all, but most are co-occurring, which means they also have a drug and alcohol component. And we set them up inpatient, outpatient, whatever the clinicians determine. And then they also, there's a piece of it that we have found that's been very successful, is that they meet with the judge and talk about how their treatment's going, how their compliance is. We also random and frequently drug test them so they maintain their sobriety during their treatment. In general, the people that are mentally ill that become, we call them forensically involved, that have criminal charges, they spend a significantly more time in jail. Our country in general tends to want to hide people with mental illness away, warehouse them. But a lot of years ago, when they opened up the mental hospitals and let everyone roam free, the problem is they didn't pay attention to their housing needs, to their ability to care for themselves, and for their general health and well-being. In general, what we see is that people that are forensically involved, which means they have criminal charges, with no treatment, just incarcerate them or put them on probation or parole, the recidivism rate, depending on where you look in the country, is 70 to 80%. They will reoffend. With treatment, and if they successfully complete one of our programs, we see a recidivism rate of only about 27%. And it saves a lot of money. It's way more expensive to incarcerate someone than to wrap them around with treatment. Fewer homes are being burglarized, fewer businesses are having thefts, fewer people are being assaulted. If you wrap people around in treatment and you give them supports, and another key important thing are peer supports, people that have been in their position and have recovered and then have received training in how to support them. Very, very important to have people with lived experience supporting these people that are going through our treatment courts. My role as a prosecutor is not to win or put people in jail or put people on supervision. My job is to do justice. So if someone has a mental health issue that is not being addressed, and that is why they are forensically involved, it would be unjust to not put treatment around them. What we have seen is that our money is better spent, the public is better protected when we address people's mental health and when we address their drug issues.
"37% of people incarcerated in state and federal prison have a diagnosed mental condition. If we provide the right help and treatment,
we help people by setting them up with all the services they need to be successful in their everyday life when they leave us. And it's pretty earth-shattering. It's very successful.